So one thing I think we can all agree on, my fellow agents, is that there are certain times in this game we find ourselves in this cycle of using the same damn build nonstop. I know I'm guilty of that time and time again. I mean, one thing I find myself doing very frequently is just strapping on a striker build, using St. Elmo's, whatever talent on the chest, the Catharsis mask or Coyote's mask, and just going from there. However, as I've said in multiple videos, one of the best things about this game is how many different build types you can actually put together, which definitely will change your gameplay. So in today's video, I'm going to revisit one of my favorite Pestilence builds in the game. Now, as always, we're going to jump right into the details, and if you happen to enjoy this, do me a favor and hit that like button. It truly helps the channel out, and if you want to stay up to speed on all things Division, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button as well. Now, starting with the specialization, you can see we're using Gunner, and I'm using that for a bunch of different reasons, my friends. First of all, you're going to get some extra armor on kill. You get a reload speed increase. I also like the fact that I can use the Banshee Pulse with this version of the build. This specialization also gives you a rate of fire increase. You also get some extra weapon handling when you are motionless for more than 1 second. And always remember, regardless of the specialization you choose, have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way you're getting a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which one you're using. Now, my primary weapon for this build is the Pestilence, and over the last 4 or 5 months, this has become one of my go-to weapons in the game. It is in the general loot pool, so I recommend hitting up Countdown, set your targeted loot to LMGs. The reason it's so effective is because of its talent Plague of the Outcast. It's applied a buff dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. The stacks up to 50 times. Whenever an enemy dies with this debuff, 100% of the stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy within 25 meters. This gun is an absolute monster, and as you've heard me mention in previous videos, in my opinion, this is one of the best exotic weapons in the game. As far as the secondary and sidearm is concerned, totally up to you, dealer's choice, use whatever you want. Now moving on to the gear itself, you can see I'm running 3 Lengmo, 1 Petrov, 1 Overlord, and the Coyote's mask, which is what we're starting with. Now this has the Talent Pack Instinct, where you and all your allies are going to gain a crit hit chance and or crit hit damage bonus based on the distance of the last enemy you hit. This is a fantastic mask to use whether you're running solo or in a group. And as we continue on, I want to remind you that every single piece of gear I'm wearing in this build can be found in the general loot pool, and I will talk about that a little bit more at the end of the build breakdown. Now moving on to the body armor, it's the first of 3 pieces of Lengmo, and the reason we're running 3 is because we are targeting that third brand set bonus, which is 30% LMG damage. You'll also notice I'm running the Talent Obliterate. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. One of the best talents in the game. Next, my fellow agents, we have the holster. That is the second piece of Lengmo. And as we continue, I'd like to also point out the fact that some pieces in this build, like the holster, are not maxed out as yet. So always remember, even as you're trying to put together the perfect build, you can put something together in the meantime that can still get the job done. Next, we have the knee pads. They are the Fox's Prayer. We're running these for that middle attribute, 8% damage to targets out of cover. Next, we have the Contractor's Gloves, the 1 piece of Petrov that gives us 10% LMG damage bonus, but the main reason we are using these is for that middle attribute, 8% damage to armor. Last but not least, we have the Backbone Backpack. This is the third and final piece of the Lengmo brand set. It has the talent Perfectly Unstoppable Force. Killing an enemy increases total weapon damage by 7% for 15 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. As far as my skills are concerned, I'm using the Banshee Pulse, and I'm either going to use the Assault Drone or the Defender Drone, depending on if I'm running solo or in a group. In the gameplay footage, you'll see me using the Defender. It does, kind of come in handy here and there. When we take a look at the numbers, you can see I'm sitting at 42.7 crit hit chance, 126.7 crit hit damage. Remember, this is without any global modifiers, and the numbers you're looking at are without any of the bonuses running on Coyote's mask. And the last thing I'd like to mention, and I say this in every build video I put together, always remember this is just a template. One thing I talk about here at the channel is that you want to try out different variations. I am running Obliterate on the chest. Another really popular version is Glass Cannon because it puts out a ton of damage. It really does. And remember, this is not the hardest hitting build out there. But one thing I try to do here at the channel is highlight builds I use on a regular basis that work for me. Hope you enjoyed this video, my friends, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. On that note, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage and commentary. However, as always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible continued support. Please let me know of any other questions you have I did not address. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time, and as I mention at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone. Hello once again, my fellow agents. Do me a favor, let me know in the comments section what are certain builds that you use, or let's say you revisit, you go back to whatever it is, and you think to yourself, why am I not using this shit all the time? Because as I said earlier, it is very easy to get into a rhythm where you're using the same damn thing all the time. You easily get burnt out playing this game, and when you actually switch your build, it can change your play style, which is really enjoyable. So again, let me know your thoughts, and also let me know what are some of your go-to builds in the game. Trying to think what else is going on. We still have the Payday Apparel event that goes on for one more week, I believe. It'll end the 29th. And other than that, don't think there's too much to report at the moment, my friends. All right, that's all I got for this. Thank you once again for everything, and I will see you in the next one.
How's it going? Perfect. No survivors. All that's left is the agent. Eliminate.
Agent, I need you to kill those cleaners.
Detected.
We could do it.